We're going to start it off in Baltimore, Maryland, of course, because I think that's one of the biggest stories that I would like to cover. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest stories out of the day that I would like to cover. And there was a bridge that got hit by a cargo truck, cargo ship, and it made the entire bridge collapse. So this is bad. This is bad. And I heard a little bit of the audio from what they were saying, like the the bridge people, the bridge workers, what they were saying to each other, how they wanted to shut the bridge down and try to reroute everybody. There was no real urgency, no real hold on, sorry about that. It looked like we lost my camera here. There was no real urgency. Hold on. We're gonna try to get this right, man. We're gonna try to get this right. So what we'll do is we'll just go straight to the video, try to fix our camera, and we'll give our thoughts as we fix this stuff. All right.
This morning, a stunning bridge collapse at the Port of Baltimore.
The entire Key Bridge in the harbor.
The Francis Scott Key Bridge plunging into the water overnight after it was hit by a cargo container ship.
I wanted to know what the bang was. Ship hit the Key Bridge, sinking. The bridge is gone. Holy hell.
Video shows smoke coming from the ship before it hit the bridge. The bridge is normally a major artery spanning the Patapsco River, and though the collapse happened in the early morning hours, 1:30 a.m., video shows cars crossing moments before the ship hits. The traffic then paused, but vehicles were still on the bridge as it then crumbled into the water. Fire department and Coast Guard teams rushed to the scene, rescuers searching the water overnight.
Still very much in an active search and rescue posture. Our sonar has detected the presence of vehicles submerged in the water.
The ship is an almost 950-foot container vessel called Dolly, headed from Baltimore to Sri Lanka. The Synergy Marine Corporation saying it collided with the bridge pillar, and all of its crew members, including the two pilots, have been accounted for. The ship reportedly lost power while in the water. This morning, with the sun rising, search teams continue looking for any survivors in the water as the Baltimore area reels from a major collapse.
Tom, we know that there were vehicles in the water, as that official pointed out. The weather is very cold. So if there are survivors who are still in the water, how long can they safely remain in those cold temps?
Yeah, 40, 45 degrees in the water, 32 degrees outside right now where we are. We checked with the University of Minnesota Duluth, and they're saying at about 7 minutes, if you're in the water, you start to have exhaustion. And then you may have, if you're lucky, if you've got a flotation device, if you've got the right gear, you might be able to survive for an hour. So we are now.
So here's the gist of this, right? I apologize for my camera being out right now, y'all. This is a little sad, but here's the gist of this. These people are missing. They're completely submerged underwater. Sorry, I don't see any sign of them. I don't see any sign of them surviving, obviously. They're pronounced dead. They're pronounced dead right now. And this is a tragic event because nobody expected this to happen at 1:30 in the morning. Nobody was looking for this. People were probably just coming home from their jobs, probably, coming home from a late night friend's house, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? They're saying that no civilians, though, were on the bridge at the time. It was purely just the workers that are pronounced dead.
Several hours, almost 6 hours into this episode, survivability is really potentially very, very challenging. But overhead, helicopters continue to search the water for any signs of survivors. And this is an all hands on deck effort in terms of Baltimore and Maryland state authorities and surrounding counties all sending mass resources into this area, trying to find anybody who might be in the water.
Let's talk, Tom, if we could, about this cargo ship
crazy,
itself.
man.
Earlier, you and I were on the air. We could not even make out in the dark whether the ship was still afloat. We now see that it is. We've been told by authorities that the crew remains on the ship, including presumably the pilot of this vessel. What is the investigation going to look like now? As I understand it, by law, you have to, if you're traveling these very complex waters of in and around the Baltimore Harbor and the Chesapeake Bay, you have to have a local marine pilot on because it is so complex.
Yeah.
If we can even roll the video, Tom, in the moments before it hits this structure, this key part of the pylon of the bridge's structure, the ship looks dark. It looks like it's lost power.
Yes, and there was one report that it had, in fact, lost power. The fire department chief is saying that they will not put people on board that ship until they do a full damage assessment to determine how.
So the ship lost power, lost all control. They sent warnings to the people at the base, and they could not do anything about it. The first thing I'm going to say, whoever died in this situation, we're praying for their families. But that's a big lawsuit for everybody. That's a huge, huge lawsuit. And I don't blame them one bit if they sue the entire company that ran that ship, and if they sue the government in the state of Maryland. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
How safe it is, and then they've got to evacuate the crew and determine how seaworthy the vessel is. However, at the moment, it seems to be fine. The NTSB will actually be running the investigation into how this happened. But I must say, the locals here are stunned that this ship would, first of all, crash into one of these pylons. Again, we don't know if they had control of the ship. And secondly, stunned that this bridge would be so vulnerable to collapse with the ship hitting a pylon. Just a whole series of questions that you can imagine the entire city is asking. I would make the point we are right up against, very close to I-95, that critical north-south corridor on the East Coast. I-95 is open.
I can't imagine being on the bridge, driving in a car, and seeing this happen in real time. Let me know if you guys think y'all would survive this Final Destination type vibe. This is pretty much what happened in Final Destination. People were stuck on the bridge ended up collapsing, a lot of people dead. A lot of people went missing. This is exactly how that movie went. Now, obviously, sometimes I think I'm Superman, so I think I'll survive. But the reality of the situation is, if I can't get out my car, I'm a dead man. But this is just extremely sad altogether.
695, however, is closed. And so if you are planning to come up and down the East Coast, be aware that the area around Baltimore is going to be really, really trying and problematic just in terms of traffic. And the port of Baltimore itself, one of the busiest in the country, is going to be reeling from this and trying to determine how safe it is to move ship traffic in and out.
Live pictures out of Baltimore as the sun's coming up, Tom. The Francis Scott Key Bridge perhaps totally collapsed this morning, a 1.5-mile thoroughfare right around Baltimore City.
Hey, that's extremely sad, man. That's extremely sad. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know how you guys feel about this down in the comments below. We're having some technical difficulties already. We struggle streaming, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But you know what? you know what, y'all? We still gonna get through this stream. We still gonna get through the stream. We're just gonna have to deal with it. We're just gonna have to deal with this one. This is what I mean by, yo, I know I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to be doing this thing to the best ability that I can. Yeah, I thank you guys for tuning in, though. I really do.